Hi everybody, today I want to do a video about boosting your confidence, and this was actually a highly requested video, which is kind of funny because I actually have very little confidence in myself, and I have slowly had to build myself up to being, able just to do everyday things, because I struggle with things like panic attacks. The anxiety of even leaving the house was very difficult for me. Keeping eye contact with people, that was hard. I would have kind of selective mutism in school and stuff. So all these kind of things that can really bring you down and to stop you from being even yourself, because inside my head I have all these kind of expressions and I want to talk about stuff, but I have all this kind of layers of built up anxiety that it will not come out, and I have to really concentrate and focus to try and get any type of emotion out. And you might think, oh, but you're on YouTube, so how is that working? But sitting here in front of a camera in an empty room, there is nobody in my house right now, my boyfriend's not home, so I'm just sat here in front of a camera, and it's so easy to talk to myself in my brain, and just say it outwards rather than talking into a big group of people. Before I get into how I overcame it, because it is a constant thing, you have to keep doing it, but before I get into that, I just want to say you are not alone, okay? You do not have to feel like there's something wrong with you just because you don't like being center of attention, or you don't like talking to a group of people, or you blush a lot, or you have panic attacks and you have anxiety attacks. Because I know for me, I used to be like, why can't I just be like everybody else? But everybody has their problems, their little problems, and sometimes you may not see them, but they're there. And just because you're a little bit shy and a little bit kind of reserved, don't feel like that's a terrible thing, because it's really not. It's just part of your character, and you can just build with your confidence and try and show yourself to the extent that you want to, and not let that anxiety build up, kind of stop yourself from being expressive. So I'm going to work in different steps. The very first thing that I would say to people is to start off with the basics and start off very slowly and work your way up. If you jump into something that makes you feel really, really anxious, it can make you kind of even more reserved and build up those layers of anxiety, and then you can just stop wanting to do anything and stop wanting to even try. So build yourself up by doing little tiny things that you can possibly do but have never done before, and then kind of work on from there. For example, for me, is that I would have a terrible problem talking to people in shops, and that was something that now I'm okay about, but when I was in my early teens, I used to really struggle with going up to a counter and saying, can I pay for this, and giving the money in, and maybe talking to them, and that I would feel really, really anxious with people, and I couldn't keep eye contact with the person behind the desk either. I would just feel like, hand in my money, keep looking at the counter, take the change back, and then put it in my purse, and I would just I couldn't keep on eye contact or communicate with that person. So it'll just be like this blockage. Another problem for me is when I had to go and buy a ticket in the cinema to go and see a movie. That would be really kind of daunting for me, and I would keep my head down, and I would be like, what's the name of the movie? And I'd have to say the name of the movie over and over and over in my head, because by the time I got up there, this anxiety would take over and I would forget everything in my brain. At my worst, I probably couldn't have even recited my name. That's how anxious I would get. So little things like just going up to the counter and saying to yourself, okay, just say hi, hand in the money, and just keep replaying it over in your head about you're going to say hi to this person, you're going to say, can I get this? If they say to you, oh, this is a nice dress, if you're buying a dress or you're buying this, then you can say, yes, it is. And just slowly build up in your brain about how to deal with certain situations, because the more times that you put yourself into different situations, even the kind of smallest, littlest thing of communicating with someone that you don't know, the easier it will become. As you're taking the little steps to become a little bit more confident, another thing that you can do is to have a backup, and that's to have somebody there with you that makes you feel a little bit more at ease and a little bit more settled. For me, that's my sister. She makes me feel a little bit more kind of confident and eases any anxiety that I have, because I can always kind of turn to her and say, oh my gosh, I made a fool of myself, oh, it's such, I'm such an idiot. Whereas if I'm there by myself, all I'm thinking in my head is, I'm such an idiot, I'm such a fool, I'm so stupid. And this would start to build up those layers of anxiety again, and I would start to turn really bad. But if I can turn to my sister and say, oh my gosh, I made such a fool of myself there. And she goes, no, you didn't. You know, I can just be like, oh, I can relax about it, because talking about it definitely does help. If you can't have that person with you, then maybe just say to them, look, I'm giving a speech at school at like 1 o'clock and I'm going to be finished at 1:30. Can I call you afterwards? Or can I meet you after school? Or something like that. Something that you can just, you know, focus on the actual thing that you have to do, and then afterwards go, at least I have this backup. Eventually, after you've done these things a few times and you keep repeating them over and over and over again, then you might find yourself, I don't need a backup now, I can actually do this by myself. But if you take a break from it, you may find that you've gone right back to where you started. So continuously doing stuff will actually improve it, and the more times you experience different situations, the easier you will find to deal with a new situation. Another thing that worked for me is when I would have difficulty leaving the house because of anxiety, I would say in my head, okay, right, well, I'm only gonna go as far as this one shop. So I would think about it. I was like, it's okay, I can go as far as this shop, and I would get there and then I would like buy something or something, and then I'd feel like, oh, okay, well, now I've made it to this shop, why don't I go to another shop? And why don't I keep going to this other shop? And why don't I go to like Penny's or Dunn's, or, you know, shops that I like going to? So then I would kind of, you know, come out of this kind of zone, because before it would be like tremendously difficult to think, okay, I've got to go all the way down over there, like I've got to go to the shop on the farthest side of town, like that would make me feel really anxious. But if I just told myself, okay, well, you're just going to go as far as this shop, that I could probably end up going to the really far away shop, but because I told myself that I was going to take it slow and just take it step by step, it was a lot easier for me. So the more often you do something, the better it is. Try to keep going. Have a backup system if possible, or be your own backup system and tell yourself that you are good and you are a good person and you don't deserve to be nasty to yourself. So to keep those negative thoughts away and keep telling yourself that you're good. You're a good person. I have to admit, when I was thinking about doing this video, a lot of my anxiety started to come back, because I started to think about how bad I used to be and all the things that used to really bother me before, and thinking about school, because school was particularly hard for me. I, at my worst, probably wouldn't have even gone in for a full week. Like, I would miss at least one day a week and then one morning a week, and then it became the fact that I was just never in school whatsoever, because it was the most torturous thing for me. It was very, very difficult. And I think if I had started a little bit earlier on becoming a little bit more confident, then I'd be able to deal with it more. But it was complete hell for me. I will admit that it was very difficult for me to be in school, because I just was filled with all this anxiety all the time. And I really hope that this helps you, because you are not alone. And I feel so bad for the person that I was, because she was so, you know, upset all the time, and I'm getting upset thinking about it, but she was so upset and so insecure all the time that I just wish I could tell her, it gets better. It really does. I'm getting so upset. I don't know why. Woo. So that's pretty much all I have to say, and I do apologize, my face is gone already. Feel free to leave any comments about how you dealt with your anxiety, panic attacks, or anything related to being a little not so confident. So just leave a comment and I will talk to you soon, and please remember that you are not alone and that we all suffer from different things in our life and different issues. Bye bye.